Now that Tua Tagovailoa isn't officially a member of the Miami Dolphins, the question around him changes from when will he get drafted to when will he first start. The Miami Dolphins have seemed to announce that Ryan Fitzpatrick will be their starter right away. Brian Flores has said that it seems that it's not ready for Tua to start right away, and he wants to get his doctors in and get their injury issue on Tua's health. Tua has had several injuries in the past, and his health is definitely the biggest question. We know he's had the talent, and he was projected to be the first overall pick before the season started. If you're the Dolphins, you could sit him for the entire year, start him midway through the season, or start him right away. They have the option of playing him through the preseason games, as we've seen teams do all the time with young quarterbacks. The Dolphins would definitely have that option and will be something to consider, but it all surrounds his health. Depending on his health, depending on how confident they believe he'll stay healthy, is when they'll play him. The Dolphins brought in several players this offseason to help their defense and help their offensive line to try to build a contending team. Players like Kyle Van Noy, Byron Jones, Ezekiel Ansah, and Shaq Lawson were brought in the defense, and a few players on the offensive line like Ted Karras were brought in, and then they definitely drafted a lot of offensive lineman players to help protect their franchise quarterback. They traded for running back Matt Breida from the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for a fifth-round pick, and signed running back Jordan Howard as well in free agency. They restructured the contract with Albert Wilson, and as we all saw last year, Devontae Parker had a standout offensive season and has become the star receiver on the team. So the Dolphins have everything around their offense assembled and ready for Tua to take over. It all depends on his health. They have built a team ready to win and will definitely need him to continue and be a good team coming in the future. The way their schedule goes, they have a bye week, week 11. This comes after a week 10 game versus the Jets and a week 12 game versus the Jets. So depending on how they're going with Fitzpatrick at quarterback and all their new seasons, all their new free agents moves and draft picks, depending on how well they're winning and what their record is and what Coach Flores thinks, I think this is the perfect time to bring Tua in. Depending on how bad they start the season or how good they start the season, this is really the perfect time. The Jets will have no game footage on Tua, depending on how the Week 10 game goes. This one is in New York at MetLife, so the first game will be on the road, and it would be a great way to try to steal a win. After looking at their schedule, I think they can sit around 4-6 would be the best expectation, and that's a little positive. 3-7 could be realistic as well, but Fitzpatrick has some surprises and could pull out some Fitzmagic, like we saw at the end of last year, and they could potentially be 5-5 or even better. We'd all expect them to lose that game. Week 6, they stay west and are in Denver. Another game I think they'll lose. Week 7, hosting the Chargers. I think that's another winnable game for them. I think they'll win that one. Week 8, they're hosting the LA Rams. I think they'll lose that one. Week 9 in Arizona. I think that's a game they can pull out. In Week 10, hosting the Jets. Another game I think they'll be able to win. Maybe even 5-5, potentially even 6-4. But I think Week 11 with the bye, it's a later week in the bye. So after a game, you'll have 6 more games of Tua. If you start him Week 11, it's a good sample size. If they end up finding a way to sneak in the playoffs with the new format, he'll be the guy going forward. He'll definitely have the full offense integrated into his system, and he'll be able to do anything that they need. If he's not healthy, he won't start at all during the season. If he's healthy earlier, he could play earlier, but there's no need to rush him back. If they want him to be the franchise guy of the future, you got to take your time. It's kind of pointless to let him sit the entire season because you want to know what you have. You want to know how good he is, and you want to see him play at the highest level, and that is the NFL. Week 11 is the perfect time. You get a bye week, have a run with the first team for that entire bye week, all your practices. Then week 12, you play a familiar opponent. You have a good game plan set up for that game, and the other team has no idea what they're receiving in a new rookie quarterback. With Tua's tape, we've seen that he's accurate and he's a good player. He makes good throws, and that's perfect what the Dolphins need. A lot of times last year, Fitzpatrick would have to scramble and take big hits. That's something Tua won't do, especially with this year with the new offensive line. If they see that through the first 10 weeks, Fitzpatrick isn't taking many hits, or you could have avoided a lot of hits by throwing the ball earlier, something that Tua seems to be pretty well at, they'll definitely have a good reason and zero excuses to sit Tua. But again, it all depends on his hip and his previous injuries and how well he practices. The Dolphins have had seasons ruined by quarterback injuries before. A few years ago, Tannehill tore his ACL scrambling on a freak injury in practice. So things like that can always happen, and definitely with Tua's past, stuff like that's always a possibility. But as a Dolphins fan myself, this is what I'm hoping for. I think it's very possible to see them start him Week 11. The fans are going to want to see Tua. Flores is probably going to want to play Tua, and it's really the doctors trying to hold him and make sure he's perfectly healthy. Similar situation with Zion Williamson, where everyone wanted to see him play, but the Pelicans only played him in spurts. So I think that they won't really play him in spurts because it's a different game, but they're definitely going to want to wait and make sure he's perfect because he's the guy they want for 15 years. So thanks for checking out this video. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your thoughts. I try to respond to all my comments, so let me know. And check out some of my other videos if you liked what I'm